to identify our vowels, right? Okay, so in this lesson 3, we want to learn the sounds of the short I, O, and U. We want to learn about compound words. We want to review the short sounds of A and E, and we want to learn the spelling rules for the sounds K, J, and Ch at the end of CVC syllables. And you see it says the sounds, the spelling, to learn the spelling on the sounds, right? To make these sounds, we have to do special spelling rules. All right, so just as a review, when we are thinking about the CVC syllables, we want to have keywords to have our vowel sounds. So our keywords are pat or pet. And of course, you can make up your own words as long as they had the short vowel sounds. All right, and we'll go through this real quick, but we had some of these words before, and they are all CVC syllables with a short vowel sound. Can you read them all? They are met, brat, scat, trap, check, and trem, right? And so that's what we're going to work on today. So the first part of segmenting words, the first thing we learn about is compound words. And compound words are words that are made up of two separate words that are smushed together. So in our document of the day, we have compound words, and we have one syllable words, and we have words that are CVC syllables and a couple other types of things. But the first thing we want to just do is to look for all of the short vowels. So we're looking for the CVCs. All right. This document of the day reads, Bedrock wins big in the last inning. Pitcher Rod Smith throws a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. Most of the vowels here are going to be short vowels, right? Here's the answer. These are all of the short vowel sounds. These are all the vowels that make a short vowel sound, right? Some of them have some special rules. Like this one looks like it should be a CVC, but it's not. It's a special rule. We're going to talk about that, the short vowel. It doesn't make, it makes an ER. The E and the R work together to make a different sort of a sound. All right, so in compound words in this document, we have two compound words. They are bedrock and fastball. Bed is its own word, and rock is its own word. Together, they make their own word, bedrock. That's the foundational layer on the earth, right? Fastball, together, is a fastball, right? Right. All of these are made up of CVC word parts. Okay. Right. So they have in the class, we would have all the students come up and fill in words that they know that have either short A, E, I, O, or U sound. So you might want to think of those. And what we've done is we've taken the words from the story and we've classified them according to their short vowel sounds. But you could add some more in here if you would like. All right. So we have this word pat or pet or pit, right? And so that's where we're going to go now. We've already done a and eh. Next we're going to do I. All right, so the short vowel I, and our keyword for that is pit. Can you think of some other words with the I sound, right? So we could have the word fit or trip or crimp. All of those have that short I sound, right? The next vowel that we're working on in this lesson is the O, the short O. It's pot, ah, ot. All right. Can you think of some other words that have that short O sound? What about mop or frog? Ah, right? Ah. All right. And our last one is put. Right? So put. Can you think of some words that have that short U sound, like run or slush? You can think of your own words. All right. So we have all 5 of our short vowel keywords now. We have pat, pet, pit, pot, and put. That will help us remember our vowel sounds, right? All right. So when we're reading, we want to remember that some multisyllabic words are compound words, and they are made up of two words that you already know. So whenever we're reading long words, one of our first steps is to look for small words in the longer words, right? Okay. The answers are already here on this, as you're to fill them in yourself. You just need to rewrite the two words together as one word with no space, no extra letters, and don't leave any letters out. You have to copy all of the words from the first word and all of the words from the second word, right? Okay. All right, so let's go on to the spelling rules they want us to learn for these lessons until we really get into the meat of the decoding. And the first one is for TCH. So if you have a CVC word that ends in a ch sound, you have to use the consonant blend TCH. So there are words that fit in this category, like catch. You don't really hear the T, but it's there. You just hear the ch. Ch, right? 3 sounds, right? The same for match or ditch. The TCH is making one sound, a CH sound, all right? So that's the first spelling rule. The next spelling rule has to do when you want to make the k sound at the end of a CVC word. And that when you do that, you have to use the consonant blend CK. Words that fit this are sock, rick, and back. All of these words have 3 sounds because the C and the K, they work together to make one sound. And then the last rule for this lesson is if you want to make the J sound at the end of the word, you have to use the consonant blend DGE. And that one is really tricky, right? Because it even has a vowel at the end. So how can it be a CVC word? This is an exceptional case here, the J sound. They spell it DGE. You have to memorize that. It doesn't make a lot of sense unless you just memorize it. So this word is not badge, it's badge. One sound, j, badge. Ridge, lodge. All right? Okay. Badge, badge. That's the way that we pronounce that. The D, the G, and the E, they work together. All right. Okay, so just as a review, these are the 3 spelling rules that they want to work on in this lesson. The TCH, the CK, and the DGE that make the ch, k, and j sounds. You have to memorize those. All right, the other rule that we learned from the last lesson is that we have a CVC word that ends in S, F, or L. All right, then we have puff, stiff, and staff, and ball, sell, bill. Right, as a reminder, there are some exceptions, like the word is, gas, and pal, but the rule generally holds. What we want to get into now is the real meat of what we're going to be doing in these lessons. So the first step to finding an unknown word is to look for smaller words within the larger word. That's the first lessons we're going to look for. We're going to look for compound words, right? We always want to think about the context of what we're reading, right? And then what we are taught to do in these lessons is to chunk a word up. We look for compound words. We look for prefixes or suffixes, which we'll start learning all of those soon. We've already learned a couple of them. Then we want to divide the word into syllables by marking the vowels, splitting the consonants, and sounding out the syllables. And when we do this, we always want to be flexible, and we want to recheck the context when we figure out the word to make sure what we think it is makes sense in the context, that we have decoded the correct word, right? All right, so you can put this in some terms of questions that you might ask yourself when you come across a word that you don't know how to read or that you're not sure of. You could say, if the word was establish, for instance, you could say, what word could we replace establish with? If the word is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, say, what word could we replace supercalifragilisticexpialidocious with? What word could we use in place of it? Then we say, do you see any smaller words, suffixes, or prefixes in establish? I see tab. That's a word, right? I see ish, right? That's kind of a common thing. I see this little S, I don't know, I see lots of little pieces. It depends how you divide it up, right? And then I take a more strategic approach. I say, well, how many vowels are in this word, right? And once I know the vowels, then I could probably figure out how many syllables if I know the different types of syllables. And then I will use that information to decode the word. And then I'll say to myself, does that word make sense in the sentence, right? So that's a process we'll be learning in these lessons. And so to do that, we want to always practice our smooth reading. We'll have another smooth reading here. And as a reminder, we want to focus on our feelings, timing, and expressiveness. And the classes that we teach live, everybody reads this out loud. You don't have, and so you should also. All right. So we'll give everybody a minute to read it for themselves. All right. When we can pick up with lesson 4, we'll come back to this and we'll reread it. But remember to apply the rules we've learned this lesson. There are compound words that you could find small word parts in. There are some DGE or CK endings. How will those sound, right? And in general, most of these words are CVCs, so they're going to have that short vowel sound, right? So read it to yourself, and we'll be back in lesson 4 to recap. All right, thanks everybody, and have a great day.